Hi everybody, my name is Noelle and welcome back to my yoga channel. Today's practice we are going to end the yoga practice and do a couple postures on the floor. So basically it's the wind down version. This will allow the blood flow to reverse because you'll be having your feet above your head, you'll be having your hips above your heart, and that will get you a little bit more tired and rested. And then always use blocks, blankets, bolsters, anything to allow the spine to become more flat. So I hope you enjoy this video. I will be sending some links down below in the description so that way you can practice a variety of yoga series that I've done. You can start off with the yoga warm-up and then pick and choose whichever practice that you'd like, and then end it with today's practice. So I hope you enjoy this, and I will see you on your mat. Okay, hey everybody, let's get started in child's pose. Bring your big toes to touch, knees are wide, and rest your forehead down, reaching your arms wherever the shoulders allow. Begin to take both palms down by the heels and close the legs, squeeze the knees, and then grab your feet and pull your feet so much so the elbows slowly become straight and the shoulder blades begin to move apart. And then pull the eyes towards the knees. If you need more, you can begin lifting your hips up. So you're hollowing out the belly here. You're really pulling it in to feel like it's going to touch the spine. Make sure you are on the crown of the head. Remember to follow your exhales. Really let them out slower than you think you can. You can always tuck your toes if you'd like. I get a lot of toe cramps in this, so I just leave them down, but your shins are pressing down. And as you exhale, slowly begin sitting back on your heels. Keep your forehead down on the ground and just drop your weight. And slowly coming out and finding yourself in a tabletop position, and lower all the way down to the belly. Bring the forehead down. We're going to move into back bending. So any place that you'd like for a back bend here. I'm going to do parachute pose, elbows in line with the shoulders, fingers higher than your elbows, and begin lifting your toes up to the ceiling. Squeeze those knees towards each other. Looking for length. As you exhale, slowly release and just drop down, bringing the forehead down. Feeling your breath on the floor. Your belly is rising and falling. Go ahead and rebend those knees. We're going to come into bow pose. So you're going to take both hands and grab the feet at the same time. Again, any back bend that you'd like to take here. Bow, you're going to kick into the hands, and you're going to continue to squeeze those knees towards each other in line with the hips. Allow the shoulders to open. Allow the breath to come in between the collarbones and the rib cage in the front. Just feel your breath. More rib cage off, more intense. Keep squeezing and lifting the legs up. And as you exhale, slowly release just the way you came in. And rest. Go ahead and bring your hands along the rib cage, pressing yourself up to a tabletop position. And then crossing at the ankles, have a seat for butterfly pose. Bring the knees wide and bring your heels together, toes together. Take a block on your feet, or you can just fold over. Countering the back poses that we had just done, and now we're forward folding. So any forward folds that you like to do here, you could do wide leg straddle, you can bring your legs together and just fold with legs straight. Blocks are there to help you. So if you can't forward fold all the way, you take the block at any level. Be careful, any forward fold, you always want length in the torso. Every time you exhale, you move that chest a little closer towards the toes, sliding the shoulder blades down the back. And slowly on your next inhale, rising back up, removing the block, go ahead and scooch a little bit forward. Take your feet flat. We're going to come all the way down to our spine, keeping our feet pressing down, squeezing the legs, and use the core to help the spine lay all the way down on the mat. Great. Go ahead and slide your feet a little closer to your glutes and pick your legs up for a nice reversed L. This is a shoulder stand modification. You can always slide your blocks underneath your sacrum. And go ahead and prep for shoulder stand. So you're going to bring your feet behind your head, take your hands on your low back, and shimmy those shoulders, squeezing together. Press the palms on the low back and pick your feet all the way up. So hips are still aligned with the shoulders. Heels and toes are aligned with the hips. You're squeezing your shoulders to support the neck. So if you feel weight or too much pressure on the neck, keep squeezing the elbows towards each other to pick the shoulders up to feel lighter on the neck. Really reach those toes towards the ceiling. You're reversing the energy. You're reversing the blood flow. Your breath is also reversed. So continue to deep breathe. You're doing usually about 5 to 20 breaths in shoulder stand. You want about 3 minutes in a reverse. And then after your shoulder stand, you're going to come into plow. You're going to bring your toes all the way down to the ground above the crown of the head. If your toes touch, you can release your palms, interlace your fingers, and press the elbows and palms down away from you into the ground. Take your feet on blocks if your toes don't touch, but do not release the hands from your low back. Continue to breathe and breathe deep. All three parts of your diaphragm getting breath, so really focusing on your breath. As you exhale, go ahead and bend the knees for ear pressure pose. Shins will one day be flat on the floor and your knees are squeezing your ears. And again, you feel crowded in the belly. Keep looking for length, bringing the hips closer towards the ceiling. And slowly on your exhale, you're going to roll each vertebrae back down on the ground, trying to keep your shoulders and the back of the head flat as you bring your hips all the way down. And again, we are in Happy Baby. So if you just wanted to move to Happy Baby before, you could. And we'll all meet in Happy Baby. Go ahead and grab onto the blades of the feet, bending the knees close to the torso, and keep the low back down. You can always modify by grabbing onto the shins. And taking the feet all the way down as wide as the mat and let the knees cave in and touch. Take the left hand to the heart and the right hand to your belly, feeling your breath and feeling the beating of your heart. And we're going to slowly come into Baddha Konasana, just taking the soles of the feet together, knees wide. If that has any bit of pain in the hips or the knees, you take blocks underneath your legs. And here you want to move your breath all the way down into the hips. Massaging your legs, pulling the inner thighs close towards your shoulders, pressing the hips towards your heels, any way that you'd like. And for this next step, we're going to reclose the legs and take both blocks. So here, this is kind of tricky. So you're going to bring your block, one block behind the low back at any level along the spine. And then you're going to take your other block perpendicular to that block. So it's usually right in the center of the back where it begins, and then the perpendicular is going to lay right across the shoulders and the neckline to allow the head to fall back. You could keep your legs however you'd like. You can allow your arms to fall open with your palms towards the ceiling and fingers towards the back of the mat. If that begins to be too much, you just bring your arms back down. And again, you follow the breath. How deep is the breath? And go ahead and bring your legs back together and roll over to one side, being very careful as you roll off the blocks. Go ahead and remove the blocks from the center of the mat and allow your spine to drop down, prepping yourself for your Shavasana. Bring both blocks underneath both knees, allowing the toes to fall where they may. Allow the spine to drop heavy, especially the low back. Bring the arms below the shoulders, palms up towards the ceiling. Taking a cleansing breath in through the nose and exhaling it out of the mouth. Feel free to do that again. Allow the tongue to fall from the roof of the mouth and the lips to gently let go of anything that you're holding on to. Let go of the jaw. Feel everything melt in the middle of the mat. Going to rest in Shavasana. And slowly beginning to deepen the breath. Wiggling the toes, the fingers, rolling your ankles and your wrists. However you would like to move the body once again. Reaching your arms behind you for a nice full stretch. And go ahead and bring both knees into the chest, grabbing onto the shins, pulling the knees close, and moving over to a side stretch. You're going to bring your knees over to the right, open your left arm towards the left, and gaze towards the left if that feels okay for the neck. Bring the knees back to center, over to the other side, gazing over towards the right. So maybe your eyes are closed. You're still moving your nose and your gaze. But notice the body and how relaxed knees back into the chest. Any way that you'd like to come up to a seated position, sitting in lotus. It's that crisscross applesauce. If that doesn't feel good, sit however you'd like. You can always take those blocks underneath your knees. Taking the hands to the heart. Take a cleansing breath. And come back to your intention of the reason why you practice. And thanks for joining me.